Hi, it's Duquesa Dean from the Evolving Woman TV. On this show, I share tips, tools, and resources to help women transform their lives. I empower women to feel confident in their authentic selves so that they can embrace an invigorating life with purpose and ease. I'd love to hear your comments, so be sure to drop how you feel about these bold conversations in the chat below. Today, we're talking about the number one thing you need to transform your life. The answer is you. The past few months have caused us all to face major life transitions. We have proven to ourselves that we have the strength to move forward, to navigate changes, and to remain flexible as we navigate uncertain times. This proves to us that inside of us is the courage to take action, even in uncertain times. We have the strength to move forward. Now, what if we could just switch from moving forward in times of crisis and choosing to thrive in ordinary times? I've been there, at a place of just barely surviving. I've experienced what it feels like to live a life so routine and unfulfilled that I thought living was not worth it. After I decided that living was not worth the effort, I took action towards making my wish of being dead a reality. Have you been there? Have you been at a place where you felt like there was no hope and nothing to look forward to? As a result of making so many poor decisions while I was just trying to survive, I experienced heartbreaks over and over again. As a matter of fact, because I had not made the decision to thrive in life, I actually, by default, had decided that any job was good enough as long as there was enough money to pay the bills. How wrong was this thinking? A big part of my disappointment in life was due to working at jobs that robbed me of my peace, my happiness, and that sucked the little life I had in me right out of me. We often give our power up, knowingly or unknowingly, to make others happy, to avoid conflict, or it could even be because we want to be loved and accepted by others. We give our power up for so many reasons. What have you given your power up for? And so there I was, sitting on my bathroom floor some 18 years ago, having a huge mental battle about whether or not I would take my life. As the mental battle waged, I walked out of my bathroom along the long corridor that led to the kitchen, opened the white refrigerator, and took out a full bottle of orange juice, one that I just purchased that morning from the store. After retrieving the bottle of juice, I closed the refrigerator and walked back down the long corridor to the bathroom. As I entered the bathroom, I stood looking in the mirror that was the face of the medicine cabinet. I could see the beads of sweat resting on my forehead. It was a pretty humid day, but I also recognized those beads of sweat as signs of my heated internal battle. I opened the cabinet, took out a bottle of white tablets, closed the cabinet, glanced at myself in the mirror again. Staring back at me was a woman who had allowed the pressure of society and from family to keep her from pursuing the dreams that she held in her heart. I shook my head at myself as I acknowledged how disappointed I was in myself. I then sat on my bathroom floor in front of the toilet. Imagine that. I sat in front of the glistening white toilet and thought, how ironic is this? That as I contemplate taking my life, I sit in front of something that captures and discards waste and comparing it to my life. At that point in my life, I had no idea that I owned the power to change the trajectory of my life. I felt unappreciated and unvalued. As I opened the bottle of tablets, a glare from the ceiling prompted me to look up. As I glanced into the recessed lighting in my bathroom, I saw the rays streaming down. And it took me back to my childhood days when we would watch movies as a family. I vividly remember the scenes in those movies where, after a storm, the gray clouds would open and the sunlight would beam through them. Those were movies based on the Bible. And so often as the clouds parted and the rays came through, the voice of God would often be heard sharing a message of hope to people. In that moment, I was reminded of my childhood days, of riding the big yellow church bus, singing the song, I Am a Promise. I smiled. And in that exact moment, my memories of my childhood days in Sunday school started flooding my mind. And the lessons that I was taught bubbled to the surface. I remembered that there was a plan for my life, that all things would work for my good, and my future was bright. I was filled with hope, and I made the courageous decision not to take my life, but to instead take time to take control of it. It was time for me to take my power back, to become whole physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It was time for me to become more emotionally strong and more in tune with my intuition. I had no idea how I would achieve this. But what I did know was I was going to get back the life that I wanted. I wanted to be a better mom. I wanted to be strong, confident, and courageous. And I wanted my children to be the same. A broken mother could never rear that type of child. I wanted my children to have bigger, brighter futures and make wiser decisions about their lives. And so I had to set the example. Sitting on that floor, I made perhaps the most courageous decision of my life, the decision to live a more fulfilled life. Today, I use those broken experiences to help others navigating the darkness to see that there is hope and that you can change the trajectory of your life. My clients are often shocked when I share this vulnerable story. But how could I be a guiding light sitting in the darkness, cloaking how I came through the darkness? As a result of that, I actually healed. I now get to thrive in a career that I love. I get to set my work hours. I get to travel the world to share and to teach. I get to live the life of my dreams. But in order to do this, I had to heal me. I had to choose personal and professional development. I had to choose to be mentored. I had to choose to stay in growth, even when it was painful. I had to choose this life. You have the power of choice. Will you look at your patterns, identify your trends, and make better choices? Now, how did this conversation make you feel? Did you have any moments during the conversation where you experienced an aha? I'd love to hear about it. Let's create a dialogue. Share your comments with me because I'd really love to receive them.